Do you know, it's done nothing but drizzle and dribble all flipping day. So far, I've got nothing done outside. So that's a bit of change. First job is I'm going to put these back out. So these are going to come out up behind the barn. That's our big hay barn. And we're going to see if we can catch some activity of the beasties that we know are coming up and down through here most nights. So I can smell the fogs. Right, you can go on there. You can come out the way, and so can you. You can go and look what's round here at night time. Right, nothing waving around in front of you. I suppose it would help if I put it the right way up though, wouldn't it? Moron. Let's try that, shall we? That might work better. That's better. Right, that's going to be looking up through there. Right, second camera, the older one. Oh, I think I might cover the yard up here. Just out of idle interest. Right, well, I've just put another camera out in the yard, and I think the first thing that's going to trip that is Ewan chipping off some wood chips. So, right, I've got another job for them. Now they're back, I can give them their job sheet, and I can go. We're going to go to the farm and have a look and see what our problem's doing. I've done something about that. Right, well, when he gets out of my way, so Famous Dave came in. Yeah, okay, go. Famous Dave came in. He's, can I borrow your angle grinder? Say me, yeah, okay. So, and then we couldn't find a spanner to take the blade out because the old blade was knackered. Oh, all right. Yeah, the blade was knackered, so he just put a new blade in there. He's good to go. Right, we are going to go to the farm, and I'm hoping I'm going to meet a nice man from the water board. Anyway, while we're in the dry and just travelling, and I can do two jobs with one go, we had the metal detectors in yesterday. SHRADS, which I can't remember what it stands for. Basically, it's a historical society run from Thornbury, local guys who go out metal detecting and blah blah blah. They find stuff, and if they find anything good, they sell it and well, give half to the farmer, and they keep half and they sell it, and they support things like hospices and the air ambulance. So all good stuff. So that's why we let them metal detect on our ground. We get lots and lots of people asking me to metal detect. Don't ask me. If you want to come metal detecting, you will have to join SHRADS, SHRADS, the Historical Society in Thornbury, because that is the only people I allow to come out metal detecting. Anyway, they came to us yesterday and they said, oh, can we go up the field over the road? I said, what, Pigeon Mead? Yes, you can go over Pigeon Mead, that's okay. So they did. Off they went, you know, sweeping and digging and stuff like that. Anyhow, I came back lunchtime-ish, and they were having their lunch, and Vic goes, Ian, come here, look at this. So I said, oh, have you found the thing? He goes, look at this. So I went over to see Vic, and he put this thing in my hand. And here's a picture of it. Here's another picture of it. In fact, there's two more pictures of it. So I looked at this thing, I said, flipping hell, someone had really small fingers, didn't they? And Vic goes, actually, he said, it's not a ring for your finger. He said, that's a hawk ring. And I said, what? He said, it's a hawk ring. And I said, I don't know what that is. And Vic goes, and Vic knows his stuff. He goes, do you know what? I didn't know until the guy who found it goes, he did. He knew what it was. I'm going to... I was going to sneeze. He said, it's a hawk ring. And I said, what's that then? He goes, well, he said, it's an ancient... Well, actually, nowadays, when you're flying hawks for hunting, they have bells on them. Little bells so you can find the bird. He said, but years and years ago, they put this little ring on the bird's jesses. And it was there, basically, that if the bird got lost and somebody found it, this little ring, this little metallic ring, which, by the way, is solid silver, would identify the owner, which means you could return it to the owner and obviously get a reward for returning the Lord's hawk. So I said, all right. He goes, it's the coat of arms that interests us. Why is that? He said, well, look at it. And I said, yeah. He goes, it's a shield with split into four. He goes, top right hand, bottom left hand corner, fleur-de-lis, and top left hand and bottom right hand corner, 3 lions. And I said, oh, right. And he said, I've never seen one. I said, I've heard of them. He said, but in all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen one. And he said, that might be worth a few quid. And I said, oh, that's why I took a couple of photographs. And he said, and if you look at the side, there's 2 initials on it, H and R. He goes, that might be Henry. And he was joking when he said that. And I said, oh, so I'm going to go and look it up. Anyway, I didn't have time. I was doing other stuff. But I did later on go in the house and look up. And guess what I found? I found the coat of arms. And guess who it belonged to? Actually, here's a picture of the coat of arms. Do you know whose coat of arms that was? That belongs to Henry IV, King Henry IV. So HR, is that Henry Regina? Is it? So, yeah, it was like, oh, that's quite exciting. And he said, well, it's classified as treasure. He says, so we legally have to send it to the coroner's office. And he said, you might not see it for a couple of years, that's going to be gone. And he said, but if it is what we think it is, A, it's incredibly rare, like rarer than hen's teeth. B, it's incredibly old, because that's 14th century. So Henry IV reigned, was it 1370 something to 1413? I think I got that dates roughly. So he said it's incredibly old. He said that could have been buried in the ground for 600 years. It's like, wow. Wow. So anyway, I spoke to Vic again this morning and said, look, I found what the coat of arms is, and they hadn't looked yet. And he goes, if that is what it is, he said, that could be worth a lot of money. So, and he said, that will quite possibly end up in the British Museum. And that's like, wow. So I said, I wasn't quite so concerned about the financial side of it, it's the historical side. So, did Henry IV, 600 years ago, come up with his hawks because he would have been staying at Berkeley Castle? So if he was hunting up us there, so there was a big manor house, not the big manor house that's there now, because that didn't exist then. That house used to belong over, but there was a retirement home for clergy, Canon's Court, where I grew up. So there was plenty of sort of like religious and well, Berkeley Castle. It's one of the oldest castles still lived in the country. He could have been staying at Berkeley Castle, and for some reason his hawk found its way up to Pigeon Mead. So it's like, well, I mean, this might end up, I might end up looking back at this and going, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. Like, it was, it wasn't what we thought it was. I got it completely wrong. But if it is, I spoke to Vic this morning, and he said, in their historical society, the people he spoke to, he said, we do not know of another one of those in the southwest. That doesn't mean there isn't one in the southwest and somebody else has, but the historical society was unaware of a hawk ring like that early, okay, that old. And I think the value is in the age of the thing, not that it's just silver. It's got a little bit of damage, unfortunately, whether that's plough damage over the years. One edge looked a bit damaged. That might be where they dug it up. I mean, it's silver, so it's not a hard metal. But yeah, here's another picture of it. All right, it was the same picture, but I only took 3 pictures. But yeah, wow. It's like, just, you take yourself back in your mind's eye of, you know, what you've seen on the TV, or what they dressed like, what they looked like, and was there a king stood in that field 600 years ago, catching doves, pigeons, partridges. Not sure if we had pheasants though back then. I don't think pheasants were introduced that early, but yeah, wow. So yeah, it's just really piqued my interest. And like Vic said, he said, you never know until you go out and you look and you find stuff like this. I could have gone to my grave, never known that. I mean, that field might be metal detected 20 times and still somebody not find it. I think it was about 10 inches down when they found it, but it's like, yeah, what a find. So, plus, all right, it might be 3 or 4 years, it might put a couple of quid towards the wife's kitchen. It might not, but it might. Right, welcome back to Tether Farm. Just been in to see me dad. I thought I'd tell him about that hawk ring. I thought he'd be quite interested in that. He didn't quite get it at the beginning. He was going, why do you want a ring on a pigeon? I said, pigeon? I said, no, it's a hawk ring. It's for going on his jesses. So, you know, if he gets lost, you can identify him. He goes, oh, he said, I couldn't work out why you wanted a ring on a pigeon. I go, no, it's to go on a hawk. Anyway, we are back in the barn. Reg has taken his tractor home because he needs fuel. That trailer, I believe, is going any day now and is being replaced with a different trailer, which I'm assuming is not coming back in here. Give us a bit more space. So my brother's still got to take those away. Right, that's that bit sorted out. I just wanted to see what was and what was not in here. So in other news, we have had our soil analysis back. So Richard Crew, our agronomist, has done our soil analysis. So generally, it wasn't bad news. It was quite good. We are high phosphorus, we knew that, and there are a couple of places that are very high phosphorus, which can be a bit of a problem because that can lock up a few of our trace elements. So there's not a lot you can do about it because phosphorus is kind of fixed. It's in the ground, it doesn't really wash out as such. So, oh, we did get a bit done over there then. But yeah, so over here, this is done. Oh, it's wet, isn't it? That's already breaking down with the rain though. So that little piece there is done. So this is going to go into winter bird food in here. So, because this is an awkward little field, not too bad to plough, but for the sprayer, especially down the bottom there, because it gets a bit wet down there, it's a pain in the bum. So yeah, we said we give this up. So this will go into winter bird feed. We and I about sneaking a quick crop of barley in there as well, but it's very tight on dates. If everything fell into place and was perfect, it's doable. But if it doesn't and we miss our dates, then you're kind of in the doo-doo. Especially when I'm wandering around with the camera and you going, oi, oi, look at the date, you should have done that, I'm going to report you. Not that you would, but anyway, so Reg has got some done over to the other side. So his tractor's gone back to get fueled up. I reckon another 2 days and he'll have that knocked in the head. So I was going to do a bit for him, but it's kind of just not panned out. I haven't had the time, but yeah, anyway, so our pH levels across the farm, I think our lowest was 6.3 and our highest 7.4. Our average was 6.5. I can live with 6.5. So there's a couple of pieces on the low numbers that could probably do with a bit of lime. The 7.4, it's not terrible. It's within the green, it's within acceptable, but we'll keep an eye on that. I've had to ask a agronomist to give me the field numbers of the ones that were high and low, because he gave me all the results, but I didn't have the field numbers. So I just need to know which one is which. You know, which one needs a bit of extra or even a bit less. So this bit of damp weather is going to be just the job to make everything stick to my boots. Fortunately, Reg hasn't ploughed the right-hand headland. At least I don't think he has. So I can make it most of the way without getting 6 foot tall. So you can't actually really see it from here. But from where the little stopcock is in the middle of the field there, it's kind of just behind. There is a low patch in the field there. But is it that water main? Because the water main runs from up here. There's actually a post in the hedge here somewhere. It sits on top of it. There it is. So that's where the main is, under there. So between here and there, and the water leak is more or less exactly behind. So that's where we're getting the water board involved. It's a 24-inch steel main from the main pumping station up at River Severn, and it pumps water all over towards North Yate and that way. So it's their water supply. So if that goes, well, it would make a bloody great big crater in the middle of the field. And if it goes while I got a summer crop in and floods the field, I could basically lose, I don't know, 20%, 20 to 40% of the crop. We don't, all right, they'd have to compensate me for that, but that's not the point. It was a case of we'd rather that did not happen. So we don't know if it's a leak in the main, but that's why I've asked them to come out and test it. If they'll and they're happy to do that, they'll come out and test the water and they'll go, yes, that is from our main, we'll come out and fix it, or no, that's groundwater, Mr. Pullen, that's your problem, you fix it. But then at least I'll know before I dig any holes. Of course, there is one other possibility that it could be. I don't think that's what it is, but it could be. So do you remember the man from Flag came out last year and said, can I make your pond bigger, Ian? We want to make the pond bigger for newts and stuff. And I said, yeah, okay, you can do that. So they came down, and actually there's a bit of video. I think we were trying out that CF Moto side by side with Dad, and we drove down here and he was actually digging this pond out. I know you've been here a couple of times in the last week or so, but the water level there, even now I've taken the plug out, I reckon if we got a dumpy level on the water level there, it wouldn't be a long way away from that dip in the field out there. So the question is, when they dug this pond out, because bearing in mind the pond was only that bit up in there, so all this here is new. When they dug this out, Did they find a land drain that went that way? I don't know why they would find a land drain going that way, why a land drain would be up here so close to the ditch going that way, but did they? And is that, I can still see the water from here, is that water problem over there coming from here? Is this the culprit? Right, so we've got the water level back down because the top of that pipe is now exposed again. That was 6-8 inches above that. But I got a funny feeling it's still running down here. So it'd be nice to get the man from the water board out to look at it and go, yes it is, no it isn't. And then I know what I'm doing. So in amongst all the soil tests, our organic matter was spot on. A lot of our other elements were kind of spot on. I was getting clatty here now. Generally, the ground's in pretty good nick. But it's just, how am I going to deal with that? I mean, I can see it running down there. Where is it running from? So over there, I don't know if you can see that little white box over there, is the line of the pipe. So pipe comes from the hedge up there to here to over there. So this is just off to the side, but again, I think the pipe is literally just over there, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come up here. Path of least resistance and all that. Where is it coming from? I can see it running down through there. It's in here somewhere, but nothing's bubbling up. Where is it coming from? See, that's not really moving a lot. Well, it is up there. It's moving through there. Not really moving a lot there, is it? Until you come down this way. I can see it going through there. And there. And there. Right. I'll leave me sticking there and mark the spot. Right. That might be the waterboard man. Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Pullen?
Yes. Mr. Pullen, yes. Right, so that was the man from the waterboard. I'm not going to film him being here. He might not appreciate a camera shoved in his face, but I'm going to open the gates for him. And then he can drive in off the road. And I can walk back down again then and have another look. I needed exercise. Right. That's that done. Nothing obvious was the answer. Couldn't hear anything. And he took a water sample and put some tablets in it, mixed it up. He goes, if it's chlorine, it'll go pink. Well, it didn't. But he did a test, and what was it? 0.77%. So he said it's not certain. We don't think it is the main. But they're going to send another team out with more sensitive gear probably tomorrow, so I've given them the gate code so they can let themselves in. So is it, if it's not that main, which I kind of in one way hope it isn't that main, is it a land drain that's bust? Is it a spring? We've had so much water in the last a couple of years even. Is that a new spring that's just come up down there? Because it could be something as simple as that. But like I said to the young chap from the waterboard, I thought before I interfere with it, bearing in mind it is that close to a 24-inch main, pressurised main, it was better to get them to check it first. He totally agreed with me to the point where he couldn't be certain. They're sending out another team tomorrow who will make certain. They'll let me know. And then we've got to make a decision then. If it's a spring, that's going to cause me a problem because it's right in the low point of the field and I can't put a land drain in because where am I going to drain it to? Water won't run uphill. I think we're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Right, I'll lock this gate up, clean my boots off. No, I'll walk in the grass, I'll clean my boots off first, then I'll lock the gate up, then I'm going home. Yeah, that's probably it for today. Right, back at home, it is 20 past 5. I have got enough time to look round the boys and girls, and I think we're going to put a bale in the safe yard while we're here. We got time, and we might as well do it. That's passable for tonight. That was a fresh bed yesterday. Oh, that looks a bit cloudy. Right, that probably wants bailing out. So that's not somebody pooing in the water. That is somebody out there digging holes, and then they've managed to chuck some in there. That's what that is. Sometimes when I put a fresh bed in there, they got to come in, they got to dig it up and chuck it around, and sometimes a bit goes in there. Right, we'll shut these in, them out, change that over, bail in there, job done. How did I know you were going to do that? Was it because of the rate of knots you decided to fly off there? I cured it. That's it, that's my day done. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Something a bit different, so something a bit historical. Very, very, very historical. So, we'll wait and see what happens with that hawk ring. I will keep you updated with that. I'll tell you what happens at the coroners, you know, whether they let us keep it or whether they decide it belongs to the Crown, which they could. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.